Hello, everybody. This is my first webinar, my first free webinar for everybody about the low-tech medical programming. I will try to tell you information that I know about human body parameters, about environmental parameters that might influence our health and our efficiency, how to program on MicroPython, and how to get the values from different sensors. And I will tell you a little bit about the device microbit. So check it out, and I hope that it's going to be interesting for you. First, I will share the information with presentation that I prepared. So I will share my screen with you. Okay, so here it is. This is the first slide. So this is the first webinar out of 10 that I prepared. And let's begin. So just a little bit about myself, who I am, and why I might be the interesting to listen to. So about my experience, first I studied in Russia in one of the best technical universities, Bauman University. I studied mechanical engineering and biotechnologies there. Then I moved to France, and right now I'm here. I work in a French startup, and I also work as independent engineer. I work on the creation of the digital solutions, sites, 3D, and e-health projects. And so I work a lot on pedagogical content, and I work with sensors, different electronic boards, and I know everything about biotechnologies and how we can get information and use it to make us feel better. Oh, and sorry, I just will remind you on the slide before, on this slide, you can see that there are interactive elements, the violet ones. You can click on them, they contain links. Like, for example, here, there are links to my LinkedIn, to my Hackster page with my projects, and to my personal site. So if you see these interactive elements, they contain some information or images or links. And so it's some extra information that might be available. And now with this, we will continue. So I think that it might be interesting information for everybody, because if you know how to use information about your body and about environmental conditions, and you know how to use technologies to get information about your body and about different parameters, this might really make your life better. Just a simple example, for example, when you work on your computer, you might have pain in your back because you are sitting not in an appropriate way. And if you just set up your camera, and with artificial intelligence instrument, you check the height of your height when you are sitting, if it's decreasing, which means that your back is bending, this will tell you automatically. Your computer might send information to you saying that you need to check on your back, and by several weeks this habit will just become your natural habit, just to check on your back and sit properly, which will reduce the pain of in your back. So this is just a small example with technologies, how you can use it to get information and to make yourself healthier and to get more knowledge. This is also important. It's just an example, but there are also other examples. You can get information literally about everything, including your temperature, body temperature, room temperature, humidity, CO2 level, and combining all these parameters, you can make a smart house. You can get new knowledge about your body. Like, for example, not everybody knows that average temperature changes from one person to another. So for some people, 37.0 can be in Celsius. It can be a normal temperature, but for others, it's already a signal that there is a virus or bacteria in your body. So if you find out for several weeks in the same at the same time, in the same particular time, like for example, during the dinner time, you check your temperature and you write it down in your journal. Then you will find out your average value, and this will be the value that you need to compare to every time you feel bad or you have concerns about your state. So but this is also just one side. Another side is programming side. I will teach you how to use MicroPython, how to program with it, what is a microcontroller, with how to program with microbit and with other electronic boards. I will tell you about artificial intelligence instruments and how to use it. We will create an app for Android devices, a mobile app using the platform MIT App Inventor, and I will tell you how to use in everyday life technologies to get information about yourself and about environment that surround you. It's very important. But it also might be an interesting part how to use this information for career opportunities. And that's what this slide is for. So how we can use it, this information, in professional way. So on the left, I showed at the bottom, there is a startup I work for, Vitasians. And for example, you can use your knowledge for a startup, or you can use knowledge about new technologies and new programming languages for bigger companies like Siemens Healthcare. I know my experience is that actually the most important is what projects you have, what you can present, what you can do. And if you have projects that can actually provide real impact on human life, make life better, more convenient, healthier, this is what is important. And that's what will make you shine among other candidates. And for example, you can have another way. It's to work with some companies that produce sensors or electronic boards. Like, for example, I make content for Seed Studio and PCBWay, these companies. So I just literally, they find me because I publish my projects. They're interesting. I have a lot of followers and a lot of views and likes. So they say, okay, we have a new product. Would you be interested? So that we send it to you and you make a content based on this. This is the first step. So you can make a contact for them. And if you get popular with such content, then they can provide you a percentage from the sales that they do. If the person click your link, so they can check that you are the one who provided new customers on their site, and they will provide you a percentage from their sales from these customers. Another way is to use just to get your new followers and to grow your audience. For example, such sites like YouTube or Hackster, you can publish your projects, just like what I do, actually. And there are a lot of people who are interested in learning new things, and you can have your own courses, you can share your own information, you can find something new out of the knowledge that you receive. And on the top right corner, on the right, so I just put the logos of the things that we will learn. It's MicroPython, Python, the languages, artificial intelligence instruments, and microbit. So let's start. We have 10 webinars. I prepared 10 webinars and 10 presentations. First 5 webinars will be concentrated on we will concentrate our attention on microbit, what it is, I will tell you, no problem. Then we will start to work with the phone, with Bluetooth, how to connect these two devices, how to get information, how to send it. We will also create a phone application with MIT App Inventor. Then on the 7th webinar, I will tell what is actually a body electricity, how it works. Actually, like all the devices, they need electricity to function, and we will build our own battery, and I will explain how it works. Then I will show you the CO2 sensors and explain how it works. Here it is. I have one just close to me. I will turn it on later and show you how it works. And I will tell you a little bit about artificial intelligence. There is nothing to be afraid of, no big deal. And at the last webinar, we'll create our account, our page with our projects. I will tell you how you can use the information to get new followers, new career opportunities, and I hope it's gonna help. So first I will move a little bit the screen up. I'm sorry. I hope everything can be seen. So first, optimal environmental parameters. This is important. These are parameters that surround us and they influence on our state and on our efficiency. So everybody knows that one of the most common parameter to be checked is the temperature. So indoor temperature can be checked with different sensors. It can be checked with this sensor. I have the sensor that I show you right in my arms. That's what I show on the screen. If you take a look at the right, there's a small screen with me holding the sensor. So this sensor, DHT11, it can provide you information both about temperature and humidity. Well, about the temperature, we can also find out using measurements like using mercury thermometer or electronic one, or using just based on our feelings, like sometimes we can feel hot waves or cold waves, and this just tells us approximately that there's some change, but we cannot be sure about what it is precisely, and for this we need different sensors. And this small device, it just half of bank credit card the size. It can also provide us information about the temperature, and later I will tell much more about this. So the temperature should be between 18 and 22 degrees. Sorry, I will just come back. The second parameter that I would like to mention is CO2. It should not exceed 1,000 particles per meter. And to check it, we need to use a special sensor. Like, for example, the one that I have right now in my hand. That's what it is. It's a sensor for CO2. And it can check different things. So you can check the air quality, the presence of other particles, but for now we will concentrate just on CO2 level. Optimal level of air humidity, it's very important. It's again this sensor that I already showed. That's the sensor that can provide us information about air humidity. This is very important parameter actually, because when it's, of course, the level of humidity is too high, it's hard to breathe and it's hard to work. But it cannot be too small. Like if the air is too dry, it's hard to breathe, and it's much harder for our eyes. We need optimal level of humidity in the air to continue working and stay efficient. And it's also, by the way, important to stay healthy. So comfortable light level. When we work, and I know just like me, everybody is working late at night, and especially when we have a deadline. So it's very important to remember that there should be an optimal light level, luminosity in the room. And there is this sensor that I have in my arms. So it allows us to check light level for comfortable work. There is also important parameter as noise level. It uses a microphone system to get information about the sound level. And it should be, especially it's important for people who prefer to work with listening to music. It shouldn't be too loud for our ears and for our concentration, for our brain work. So the next one is about our human body. What are the optimal parameters of the human body? So the most important, it's logical, it's the body temperature. That's what we concentrate on when we feel bad or when we feel too good. Actually, it also increases when we're um, emotional and when we feel a lot of joy. So here is an image of a temperature sensor, which can take body temperature. Literally, you can just take the metallic part that you can see in the hand, and it will tell you the temperature of your hand. But you can use it, for example, also like close to the neck or under your arm, depending on where you want to take the temperature from which part of the body. It should be between 35 and 37, and as I mentioned before, it different from person to person. So it's important to know your personal optimal body temperature. So the heart rate, here I have it with me. This is the sensor that can help us to get a heart rate. It should be between 55 and 85. This is an optimal parameter, and that's what you get. That's the value that they measure when you go to the doctor and you need to check your heart, or for any other reasons they want to check it. They want to check your state. It's one of the most important parameters. It's quite important to understand like how you move per day, like whether you have enough physical activity, and you need to have at least 7 steps a day to get optimal physical training, physical activity per day. So to check it, there is a sensor accelerometer, which is actually the sensor that is built inside this device. It's on the back, there is a sensor accelerometer, and this sensor helps to understand your movements along 3 different axes, and to see. So every time it's shaking, it can count it as 1 step. So it counts the number of steps that you make automatically, and like this, you can be sure you will get quite. That's actually how all the devices, like electronic watches, health watches, they work. They have accelerometer that check how you move along 3 axes every second. Sleep. This is important to sleep at least 7 3 it's like when you have really a lot of things to do and there is not much time to sleep, but I really advise not to do this. It should be at least 7 hours per day, but it also depend on the person, and from one person to another it changes, but it should be at least 7 hours. And we can check again with the accelerometer, so how you move. So when you stay still and you don't change, for example, you can change, for example, in along X axis, so you turn on your bed, but if you change your position along Y, so your height changes, which means that you sit or you stand up. This means that you wake up. So accelerometer, the sensor accelerometer can tell you how you slept and whether you woke up. Like for example, some people, like even me, sometimes I sleepwalk, and so this sensor could could tell me whether it happened. And not so many people do it. It's quite hard to achieve and to remember, but it's quite important to have regular physical activity and to have some exercises to move for 5-10 minutes every 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, so that after you work for some time, you need to wake up, you need to fresh, you need to do some movements, you need to make your blood circle circulate in your body, and there is a sensors, motion sensor that detects a change in position. So here it is. I have it in my hand. This sensor could help you to see for how long you sit still working on your computer, and will tell you that after 1 hour of sitting still, you need to change your position and you need to move. So here we go. The next slide, it's quite funny one. So I will just move a little bit so that you can read the question. So what combination of parameters do you think is the most optimal for well-being? First version is high air temperature, high air humidity, and high CO2 level. Second is low temperature, high level of humidity, and high level of CO2, or low air temperature, high level of humidity, and low level of CO2. What do you think is right? So I will just let you think a little bit. It's very important to choose by yourself what you think is right. So the first version, it's not actually right, because if there is a high level of CO2, then it's hard to work. There is a high chance to get infection. Actually, I will tell about it later. But it's very important to have low level of CO2. Second version is also not correct. Why? Because there's still high level of CO2, and even though here we have a low air temperature, which is better for functioning, we still have high level of CO2. And the winner is the third variant. High humidity in the air is necessary for comfortable functioning of the lungs and eyes. Low comfortable temperature keeps the body in the good shape, and the low level of CO2 particles in the air is important for immunity and brain function. So just remember, low air temperature, high air humidity, and low CO2 level. That's the right way to live. So now I will tell about the most important part of my presentation. I will tell about microbit. What is this microbit? So this device is literally a mini computer. You can do many things with this, and it consists of different parts. Like it consists of the processor, the microcontroller. There are some sensors like accelerometer, magnetometer. It also has some buttons. There are 2 buttons. In front there is a sign of the microphone. Maybe you can see this, it's here. So it's a noise sensor. This device, it's second version, V2, which was released in 2020. So it has some modifications from the first version, and the main one is actually that there's this noise sensor, and the logo of microbit, this one, golden one, it became a button. So it became a touch button which you can use to program. And one of the most important parts is the display. There are 25 LEDs on it, which we can use to present the data or to make some image. And there are also pins, but we will not use them during my webinars, because for these we need special devices to connect them with sensors. But these pins, they are used to connect with the sensors to get extra information, because on the microbit there are some sensors on the board, so built-in sensors, but there are also a lot of other sensors that we can use connecting with this device and getting information. And so this is the image that I added. I just added some information for you if you want to read, like when the first version was released, like in 2016, that it's English device, and it's used to teach English children at schools programming in the most interesting way. You can make actually even a guitar with this device, but we will concentrate on how to use it to get information about your health, about parameters, and to make your life better. So programming language MicroPython, what it is, actually it's in an implementation of the Python programming language for microcontrollers. So literally Python is one of the best languages with clear and readable syntax. It's quite ideal to be a first programming language to learn. MicroPython, it's a specialized like part of Python dedicated for microbit to be used. So they have a little bit, it's kind of can be said that it's a little bit simplified version of Python. So these functions are specialized to work with this device. There are special functions, special libraries and modules, but literally if you know how to write on MicroPython, then you know also Python. You just will need to know other functions depending on what you want to work with. And you can use it for different areas like deep learning or, well, literally for everything. But right now we will concentrate on microbit. So what do you think Python code looks like? Because just in case if you didn't code before, it's no problem. We will just check your intuition. So the first variant, it's actually just Chinese text. It's not Python. Second, yeah, correct. This is the beginning of the Python code. That's what we're gonna write. And the third is just randomly generated binary code. So now when we saw what we're gonna do, like how the programming code look like a little bit, it's just English words and some elements. Now we move to actually the first task to be practical. We'll just make a first program to check room temperature using this device. So we will determine, and what is important, every time we need to ask the question, okay, we want to get information about the temperature, humidity, CO2 level. How we do this, and what, like for example, this I showed that there is a temperature sensor, but there's also this device that can tell information about temperature. What's the difference? What is important to understand is how different sensors work, how they provide information. Like for example, here on the device microbit, the device it doesn't have specific temperature sensor to get temperature. It takes temperature from the processor. So the processor of this device is working, and in the beginning, when the device just starts to work, the processor is cold and it's getting hotter and hotter during the work. So in the beginning, it actually gets information a little bit less than what it is. Then it starts to be hotter, and it becomes actually it becomes equal to the temperature of the air. But then it becomes even hotter. So because with the work, with the time during the work, the processor become hotter. So that's the way how we get temperature, the air temperature from microbit. So it's not 100% correct, but we can use it to get approximate temperature level without using more precise sensors. So what do we need to get it? We need a microbit board, USB cable, and computer. And how we will write it? We will need to write a code in MicroPython, and I will show you what are the blocks. It's very interesting and a very funny way to learn language. So now we'll show you the video how I wrote a code for this program to get temperature of the air. Yes, so I went to the site of Vita Science, then I clicked the programming to get the platform to program microbit. And you can see on the page right now. Yes, it opens. So there are several parts. And from the left part, I just take blocks. I will tell what it is. And I construct something out of it. I construct my program. And on the right, you can see the text adds automatically. So I create my code by taking some parts and making a construction of some blocks out of it. So here's my program. I continue changing it. And here it is. That's ready. So now we go to the next slide. And I will show you more closely what it is. So on the left side where you can see search a block, so there are different names of the types of block. What is block? Block is just a shape like it might be a rectangle. Like for example, let's think about rectangular. So there is a rectangular shape, like just some rectangular shape that contains a code. So it contains, like for example, a rectangular shape that correspond to the image, for example. Another rectangular shape that correspond for the time, to add some time frame. So just to reduce amount of lines of code and do it in more visual way, in easier way, we combine the code by its function into one image, into one representation, like a rectangular representation. So here I was using the green block. It's a forever loop, but I will tell you more closely what it is during next slide. So I use the green, orange, 2 times blue, the blocks, and orange with violet. And on the right, you can see from microbit import. This is the text. There are 9 lines. This is the code that we need to get temperature from microbit. And why we use this code at all? It's because just like any computer or just like us, every person or every actually object like computers, electronic boards, we or them, we understand different language, particular language. We speak a particular language, and microbits speak micro Python language. So now I will tell you what is this code, what are these lines. So first 2 lines, they are dedicated to the to import libraries. So from microbit import, it's first line that tells microbit that it needs to get everything to work with microbit. So we just literally prepare to work with microbit. We say we want to work with microbit. Second line tells us that we will work with time. We need time module. Then we use the cycle of repetition while true. So it's just the cycle that tells us we have a loop to repeat code multiple times. Non-stop, it will provide us the same thing. Why we need the same thing? It's because the temperature is changing. It can become lower if we open the window or open the door, or it can become higher if we work in closed door. So it's changing all the time, and to get information continuously, we need this cycle. And then the first these 2 green the 2 lines on the green color on the green background. So it's about plotting an image. First, it's let image with some numbers 0 and 9. What it means? 9, it's indicator that the LED should be turned on. As I was showing you here, this is a matrix 5 to 5, so 25 LEDs. And the first line is the highest one. So the first line, like when we write 99999, we determine the highest, the top line. And 9 means that all the sensors on the top should be turned on. So this is the top part of our T letter. Then we go lower and the second line it's 00900. So we continue building our T. We start to build the second lower line of T. Then we have 00909. Why it is like that? We continue building T, but we also start building two dots. Why I was building this T with two dots is because I want to show the symbol for temperature. Temperature equals and then the value. So that's how we build in 5 lines T with two dots on the display. Then we say display show. This line just tells us that we need to show this image on display. Then I added time sleep. So this is addition of the pause of a duration of 1 second. Why we need this? We need this to separate the image display and the temperature sensor data. Otherwise, they might overlay and it will lead to an error. I prefer to just a little bit separate them just with 1 second so that for sure there are not two values on the display. And then we say display show temperature. So this line tells microbit directly to get the temperature sensor reading and display this value on the display. And then we say again the pause. Why we need to add the pause at the end? It's because it's not the end. Straight after, we go again to this line, let image equal image 99999 and so on. Because we're inside the cycle of repetition. And we need to, so it's actually not the end. Straight after, we go back to the let image and we need to separate them. We need to separate an image from the value, the temperature value that we're going to display. So now we'll show you the video, how it looks like. So I was taking measurement in French boulangerie. And I will also tell you how it works in real time with the microbit. So here is the battery. Soon the video will start, sorry. Yes, so that's how it works. But there is also, so these are the batteries. We connect them to the microbit here. And like this, microbit can work without being connected to the computer. So it shows right now in my room that it's 32 degrees, and it's true that it's very hot. I don't know if you know, but well, in Paris right now, it's 37 degrees outside, and I'm in closed room, so it's a little bit hot. And so this is microbit with battery working, and we can get information continuously all the time about indoor or outdoor value of air temperature. So here it is, we made a new program. Congratulations, especially if you with me were creating this. So during the next webinar, I will tell what is accelerometer, how I can use it to get the number of steps that you do per day, how to measure physical activity like acceleration when you're running, for example, how to check, how to make a fall measurements, like for example, if some of us have older relatives that might fall, so we can actually make a program that will tell us, indicate if it happens and to help them. We will create a mini station to get information about temperature, light, and sound, all the parameters that we can get from microbit. And I will tell how to make a effective teeth cleaning meter, because not everybody know that it's not, what is not the most important, like duration when you brush your teeth is not the most important factor. The most important is how effective you are, so how vigorously you are brushing your teeth. And we can create with microbit a program that will check especially vigorous number of vigorous movements that you make. And so as soon as you reach particular number of vigorous movements, that's when it will tell you that you can stop brushing your teeth. So this is very interesting program, especially it might be interesting for those who have children. And I also made a slide with other interesting sites and programs. Like, for example, this is the first one is you can click on the interactive link. I put the links of these sites into the interactive elements. So the first one is online map with air pollution. So you can check everywhere in the world how it's going on. Second one is online platform quantified self with other projects about self-monitoring. And this is so if you have an idea of your project, or you would like to find out more about other projects or more complicated ones, so this is a site that I would really recommend. And the third is French Association, My Human Kit. It tells you how to develop projects to help people with disabilities, and you can also share your projects if you have ideas how to help people with disabilities. And I think that's one of the most important things, to help other people with your knowledge and experience. And voila. So thank you very much for watching this this webinar, and I hope you found out many interesting things, and I hope to see you during next webinar. Have a good day. Bye.